just brought on a new partner, SocialFlow, and I thought it'd be great to ask Michael, the VP of Marketing, what his product does, exactly application, and how it can help our clients use it. And the biggest thing is that it helps you optimize your tweets for Twitter to get more engagement from your followers. And to be honest, their application will blow your mind when it comes to social media. There's nobody else like it in the industry, and it's an amazing thing to take care of. So we want to hear from Michael on how he thinks it can help you get more engagement on Twitter and really focus it on your followers and not just put things out that nobody sees. So Michael.
Yeah, thanks Jenny. We're really delighted to have integrated the functionality of our optimized publisher product into Engage One-to-One. The sort of core essence of what we're doing is, we're optimizing the content that you publish and when it gets published to an audience based on when you're likely to earn the greatest amount of attention and engagement, right? So that's what we mean by optimization. On any given day, you've got a whole bunch of different things that you could possibly say, right? So in the work that we've done, we've sort of, understood sort of what's likely to yield you the greatest return and factored that into two things: content selection decisions and content publishing decisions, right? So it's sort of like if you think about what's happening on Twitter right now, right there.
Mass amount of content.
Massive conversation, massive people out there talking, right? So any given audience, let's say you've got 10,000 people, right? You've got some subset of that that's available to you at any given point in time. You've really got to understand who's available to you, right? So that's the first thing we look at. The second thing we look at is, what are they interested in engaging in, right? So if somebody came to us right now in the middle of this conversation and started talking to us about how Five Guys is a far superior burger to Shake Shack, even though that's statement of fact, it's not going to get very far. We won't be that interested in that conversation, right? It's just not appropriate. However, if they came into this conversation, started talking about social media, Twitter, online marketing, great, we'd embrace that. We'd invite them in and we would engage with them, right? So the problem that we really solve is how do you do that at the scale of Twitter, right? Of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of millions of conversations that are happening, right? As human beings, sort of one-on-one, we make those decisions pretty quickly, very naturally.
Right.
At the scale of Twitter and Facebook, it's impossible. We're at Grand Central Station right now, right? In the middle of the heart of New York, one of the busiest spots. If you were to say to go over to the middle of the terminal right now and go tell us, okay, what conversation should you have right now that would get people in the terminal to pay attention to you, it'd be impossible for you to do. The minute you stood there, the people that are available to you are moving in and out, let alone trying to understand the conversations that are happening. It'd be an impossible task. However, that's what we're asking social media teams to do right now, right? Which is an impossible thing to do.
Yes, I've tried. It is impossible. It's impossible.
So, what we're doing is we're providing real-time analysis of your audience to understand what's available to you, real-time analysis of conversation to understand what they're likely to pay attention to, and understand what the resulting engagement should be, right? So that enables us to take your content that you would like to share, score it for attention and engagement, and then make content selection and publishing decisions based on that. Right? So that's what our optimized publisher does. That's a functionality that's now integrated into Engage One-to-One that will enable your customers to be much more effective in what they're publishing, to publish much more engaging content that's likely to yield a great amount of attention from their audiences.
Okay, do you have any statistics on how a client of yours before they were using SocialFlow came on and then what their results are now?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So what we see is on an average of the first 6 months of using our optimized publisher, we typically see an increase of between 40 and 60% in clicks per tweet. It's a really important metric, right? So let's talk about metrics for a second. Let's forget about followers or likes, right? Those aren't real numbers, really, right? We break them down to quality metrics to understand, okay, how well is this content doing? How well is it doing with my audience? So clicks per tweet is a really important metric, right? So we see an increase of an average of 40 to 60% in clicks per tweet. The other metric we look really closely at is clicks per follower. That gives you a really good understanding of how good an audience you're building. All right, so we see an increase of between 15 and 30% in the first 6 months.
Okay, that's a great statistic. So how do you think one of our clients could use it to target their many local storefronts for their franchise or for their corporation by optimizing their tweets locations in different areas of the country?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I think it works really well because the way SocialFlow works and the way that we believe social publishing should work is to really understand any given audience, right? And the way that we do our analysis, it's entirely based on a given audience. So for your storefronts, your franchises, even at the local level, all the way up to the corporate level, we look at those audiences individually. And we provide the analysis, and we do the analysis and the publishing and the optimized publishing based on those audiences. So your audience in New York City is going to be extremely different from your audience in Seattle, Washington, right? Both in terms of composition, interest, who's available when, and what they're talking about, right? So we are able to optimize your content specifically way down to that level, right? You may have the same promotions that you're running across the stores, you may have the same content that's available, but the conversations and the interest amongst those audience will be different at different times.
Right, in different locations, depending on what's going on.
Exactly.
Especially like the weather. That would be a perfect example.
That's a great example, yeah. So what we're doing is we're ensuring that when your audience is interested at that point in time, you've got the right piece of content that hits them.
Awesome. I think that's great. If you guys need any more information, you can go to socialflow.com. You can contact me on Twitter at Jenny McDonald, JenniMacDonald, and SocialFlow is at SocialFlow, one word. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.